Often, official records sweep the most humiliating moments under the rug. Not today. We are bypassing the legendary strategies to examine the armies that declared war on kitchenware, the regiments toppled by literal insects, and the invasions where everyone simply got intoxicated and fought their own shadows. Here are 10 of the most absurd, bizarre, and catastrophic military blunders that prove leadership is frequently a myth. Number 1. The Kettle War, 1784. In 1784, Holy Roman Emperor Joseph II demanded the Scheldt River be opened for trade, expecting the Dutch to fold instantly. He dispatched 3 vessels to force the issue. You might imagine a sprawling naval engagement, but instead, history gave us a farce. The Dutch ship Dolphin fired a single shot that missed the hull and the mast entirely. Instead, it struck a soup kettle on the deck of the Austrian flagship. The resulting explosion of lunch terrified the Austrian captain so thoroughly that he surrendered his entire vessel on the spot. The only casualty was a pot of soup, leaving the Austrians hungry and the rest of us with the most ridiculous naval name in history. Number 2. The Battle of Tonga, 1914. During World War I, the British invaded German East Africa with 8,000 troops, outnumbering the defenders 8-1. It should have been an easy victory. However, while marching through coastal mangroves, they disturbed a swarm of pharaoh bees. The insects didn't care about the Great War, they simply attacked everyone. British soldiers, equipped with machine guns and heavy artillery, broke rank and fled in terror back to their ships. Stung hundreds of times and forced to abandon their gear, the British were defeated by nature's original superweapon in a conflict later dubbed the Battle of the Bees. Number 3. The Voyage of the Russian Baltic Fleet, 1904. This is widely cited as the most incompetent naval journey ever attempted. In 1904, Russia sent its fleet around the globe to face Japan. The madness started early. While still in the North Sea, the panicked Russians mistook British fishing trawlers for Japanese torpedo boats, despite being thousands of miles from Japan. They sank a fishing boat and even managed to fire on their own ships in the fog. To make matters worse, sailors bought exotic pets in Madagascar, including venomous snakes that escaped and terrorized the crew. After 7 months of this clown show, they finally reached Japan only to be annihilated within hours. Number 4. The Pastry War, 1838. Nations usually fight over territory or resources, but in 1838, France invaded Mexico because of a bakery. A French pastry chef in Mexico City claimed army officers looted his shop and demanded a fortune in compensation. When the Mexican government laughed at the bill, he wrote to King Louis Philippe. Taking the croissant crisis seriously, France sent a full naval fleet to blockade and bombard Mexico. Men died and ships sank, all because of stolen cakes. Mexico eventually paid the bill, resulting in the most expensive pastries ever recorded. Number 5. Operation Cottage, 1943. In 1943, 34,000 Allied troops launched a massive invasion to retake the island of Kiska from the Japanese. They stormed the beaches with battleships and air support, ready for a bloodbath. The problem? The Japanese had secretly left 2 weeks earlier. Despite the island being empty, the thick fog caused Allied units to become paranoid. They began firing at shadows and eventually at each other. By the time they realized the enemy was gone, over 300 soldiers were dead or wounded from friendly fire and booby traps. They conquered a silent rock and still managed to lose. Number 6. The Battle of Kharan Sebez, 1788. This remains the gold standard of military incompetence. An Austrian army of 100,000 was marching to engage the Ottomans. One night, the vanguard found locals selling schnapps instead of the enemy and got drunk. When the infantry arrived and were refused to drink, a brawl broke out. A shot was fired in the dark, and someone screamed that the Turks were attacking. In the panic, German-speaking officers shouting "Halt" were mistaken for shouting "Allah" by non-German soldiers. The army turned on itself, fighting a brutal battle against its own ranks all night. By morning, 10,000 men were casualties. The Ottomans arrived 2 days later to find a field of corpses and an easy victory. Number 7. The Battle of Fishguard, 1797. This, the last invasion of mainland Britain, was a complete comedy. In 1797, 1,400 French soldiers, mostly convicts, landed in Wales. They immediately discovered a wrecked ship full of Portuguese wine and got blackout drunk. While they were busy looting farmhouses for food, local Welsh women arrived to watch the chaos, wearing traditional red shawls and tall black hats. Through their drunken beer goggles, the French mistook the grandmas for British redcoat infantry. Terrified of being surrounded by an elite army, the French surrendered unconditionally to a group of local women. Number 8. Liechtenstein's 81st Soldier, 1866. This is perhaps the most wholesome failure in history. During the Austro-Prussian War, Liechtenstein sent 80 men to guard an Italian mountain pass. Uninterested in the war, the soldiers spent their time drinking wine, smoking pipes, and enjoying the view. When the conflict ended, they marched back home. However, while they left with 80 men, they returned with 81. They had befriended an Austrian liaison, or an Italian defector, who decided to move back with them. Liechtenstein remains the only nation to go to war and return with negative casualties. Number 9. The Battle of Dominica, 1761. While trying to hold Dominica against the British, French sentries heard what sounded like thousands of approaching footsteps in the dark jungle. Convinced they were being surrounded, the French panicked and spent the entire night firing their muskets blindly into the trees, preparing for a final stand. When the sun rose, they realized the truth. There were no British soldiers. They had spent their entire ammunition supply waging war against thousands of local giant frogs whose loud croaking perfectly mimicked the sound of marching feet. Number 10. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, 1896. If you have a short attention span, this is the conflict for you. In 1896, a new sultan took power in Zanzibar against British wishes. When he refused to step down, 5 British warships opened fire at 9:02 a.m. This wasn't a battle, this was a demolition. The palace was leveled, the royal yacht was sunk, and the sultan's flag was chopped down by 9:40 a.m. The entire war lasted exactly 38 minutes, making it the shortest war in history. You could watch a single sitcom episode and it would still outlast this entire military engagement. We just covered 10 legendary disasters, but human error is a bottomless pit. There is almost certainly a blunder I overlooked. What is the one military mistake so incredibly stupid that it's a crime I left it out? Head to the comments and let me know. Hit subscribe for more tales of historical incompetence, and I'll see you in the next one.